difference that you can. Oh, I don't know. Oh, he's asking me. Here's the thing.
I'm not American. Thank you. I got this blazer just for today. I always
That was almost 10 years ago. Plus the revenue.
I'm doing it with Mr. Dodson. It's just been crazy Monday. I made a change out of hoses.
This is going to be better from. Yeah, that's good. We're going to get stuck killing the bug. So here, the folks that are out there that are working on
We'll call to order the City of Douglasville's City Council regular voting meeting for tonight, which is Monday, March the 17th, 2025. Our invocation will be done by Pastor and Evangelist Outreach Pastor Reverend Orlando Evans of the Douglasville First United Methodist Church of Douglasville. After that, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem, City Council Member Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Greetings, Mayor Robinson, and distinguished council members and guests. Tonight, let's draw inspiration from Luke chapter 13, verse 34, which tells us, Jerusalem, how often have I desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings. As we celebrate Women's History Month and the awesome women who lead us in government, business, education, and more, we must remember that these phenomenal leaders are created in the image of God. While patriarchal societies often emphasize the masculine traits of our heavenly guardian, we must also remember that God not only fathers us, but also mothers us. God is a nurturer, caregiver, teacher, and encourager of those whom God loves. Considering this, let us pray. Gracious God, thank you for not only fathering us, but also for mothering us. Scripture tells us in Luke that you gather us as a hen gathers her young. In Deuteronomy, you hover over us as an eagle protects her nest. In Hosea, you're presented as a bear who's passionate about her cubs. And we thank you for not only leading us like a father, but also for loving us like a mother. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the pledge, and thank you, Pastor Evans, for acknowledging women and how God has blessed us in this city especially and all over to lead his people. You're always so dapper, and we appreciate the encouragement. We have, for our announcements and presentations, the 2025 State of the City Address, and that's item 25-039. So I'll make a motion to approve that so that we can get on with the city address. Open the floor for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Nessus. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hudson. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 25-039. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns before we vote? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this message, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-039 is approved. And if will, the council members and Mr. Dotson, if we'll go out so that you can see the video, and I'll present the 2025 State of the City. Thank you all so much for your attention. Mayor Pro Tem and I were just talking about being in D.C. with the cherry blossoms coming up and these allergies getting to me today with pollen, so please excuse me if my voice goes out a little bit. But welcome and good evening to everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I see some green. We need to pinch some folks. They don't have their green on today, but I see a lot of green, so happy St. Patrick's Day. It's my honor to stand before you this evening, surrounded by residents, council members, elected officials, and community partners. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the city of Douglasville at this remarkable moment in history. Today, this is a special year and a special time. It's not only the State of the City address that we give every year, but this year in 2025 marks our 150th year as the city of Douglasville. That is a blessing from 1875 to 2025. And I stand blessed to be the 54th mayor, starting with Mayor Joe James back in 1875. The city has been growing and growing, and this year's theme is our milestone year, is Discover, Delight, and Dream. We will discover our past in the foundation that has shaped us. We will delight in our present achievements, and also we will dream of the limitless possibilities ahead. Douglasville has a rich and remarkable history, one defined by its resilience, its innovation, and the strength of its people. As we celebrate our 150th anniversary this year, let us take a moment to reflect on where we've begun and how we have come, how far we've come. We'll start a journey this evening by discovering where Douglasville's incredible history first started. So we're going to look at a beautiful video, and then we'll move on.
In 1875, Douglasville was born as a railway town, a city built on connections. The Georgia Pacific Railway helped put Douglasville on the map, linking us to markets and communities across the region. These connections sparked new possibilities, inviting families to build homes, start businesses, and establish schools and hospitals. From its earliest days, Douglasville was a place of opportunity. In the early 20th century, Douglasville remained a community of farmland and small, close-knit neighborhoods. But as the railroads expanded, and later the construction of Interstate 20, more people began to call our city home. Over time, Douglasville grew into a thriving suburban hub. The opening of Arbor Place Mall in 1999 marked a major milestone, attracting visitors from across the region and cementing our city's reputation as a destination for retail and commerce. Today, the legacy continues, but now it's digital. Global companies like Google, Microsoft, and Switch have made significant investments in Douglasville, transforming our city into a hub for data centers and technology infrastructure. These innovations connect people and businesses across the globe. Just as the railways once powered our growth, now information and innovation are driving us forward. Over the decades, Douglasville has become a thriving city. Families, professionals, and businesses are drawn here by the opportunities our community offers. Today, industries like Medline, McMaster Carr, and Amazon are creating jobs and driving economic growth, while Douglasville continues to grow as a vibrant, diverse city of promise. While large industries have shaped our growth, it's small businesses that give Douglasville its heart. Historic establishments like O'Neill's Drugstore and the Alpha Theater were central to daily life in their time. Though they are gone, their spirit lives on. Today, businesses like Mitchell Appliance and Gable Sporting Goods continue to serve generations of residents, and downtown staples like Hudson's Hickory House, Fabiano's, and Gumbo's Cajun Cafe are not just places to eat. They're where memories are made. For 150 years, Douglasville has been a city built on connections. Connections to ideas, to opportunity, and most importantly, to one another. From a railway stop to a thriving, innovative city, our story is one of growth, resilience, and shared vision. As we honor our past, we carry forward that same spirit, shaping our present and guiding our dreams for the future.
You had to pump it up a little bit. That was exciting. As we reflect on the incredible journey that has shaped Douglasville over the past 150 years, we invite you to continue exploring our rich history at douglasvillega.gov/150. There you can dive deeper into our past through oral histories, personal stories, and key moments that have defined our community, told by the very people who shaped it. I talked to Ms. Pageant, and she said she had given a history lesson, and she said, believe it or not, I'm not 150 years old, but people think that, but I've been here a long time, so it's exciting to go there and listen to different stories. But while we honor our past, we also celebrate the progress happening today. So with this, it brings us to the next stop on our journey, which is delight in our presence. The present achievements, and we'll focus on a few highlights from the past year. So let's start with new businesses. Just as our small businesses were key to Douglasville's early growth, they continue to play a major role in our success today. In 2024, we welcomed 138 new businesses to our community. These new additions represent a diverse range of industries, from dining and retail to professional services, each enriching our community and adding to the vibrancy of Douglasville. Across the city, exciting new businesses are enhancing our neighborhoods, such as High Noon Brunchery, located in downtown Douglasville, The Kitchen Bar and Grill, serving the New Horizons area, and Twisted Pie in the Tributary area. In addition to those new businesses that joined our community last year, Douglasville has also seen major progress on large-scale development projects that are shaping our city's economic future. These include, but not limited to, Zoetis, Microsoft, Home Chef, and DC Block. These projects represent transformative investments in Douglasville, creating jobs, fostering innovation, and reinforcing our position as a hub for growth and opportunity. Now we'll move on to our parks and recreation, which is really exciting. Douglasville's commitment to parks and recreation has transformed our community spaces in vibrant places where people connect, play, thrive, and have a lot of fun. From dynamic programs to beautiful green spaces, our Parks and Recreation Department continues to set the standard of excellence.
What if there was a place with no limitations? A place where people of all ages, abilities, genders, and backgrounds can gather to connect and enjoy quality leisure services. A place where innovation meets recreation, where inclusion triumphs division, and where equity drives the community. Well, the city of Douglasville is that place. Located 30 miles west of Atlanta, Douglasville is a vibrant community with access to over 380 acres of parkland for families to live, grow, and thrive. Our commitment to the Douglasville community aligns with the National Recreation and Park Association's 3 pillars. Led by our social equity plan, our environmental sustainability strategy, and our Healthy Future initiatives, these focus areas drive our pledge to providing equitable opportunities for our residents. As a growing, vibrant community, serving our 35,000 residents and over 600,000 annual visitors, our team excels in providing diverse and intergenerational parks, events, and programs. Our program participation skyrocketed by over 700%. We've brought together over 600 seniors for socials and events, fostering a sense of community and belonging. The newly created Rec and Roll program provided accessible play for over 6,000 youth annually, ensuring that everyone has the chance to play and thrive. Our environmental sustainability strategy is all about preserving our green spaces for generations to come. Through partnerships and free wellness programs, we're making sure that youth and adults alike have the tools they need to lead healthier, more sustainable lifestyles. Our innovation is evident in the ways we create new experiences for our residents. Ensuring access is available to all, we have received nearly $300,000 in grants to develop park amenities, provide a free after-school program in a local neighborhood, and awarded over $25,000 in scholarships through the Dare to Play initiative. We developed and implemented an ADA transition plan to incorporate inclusivity at high-traffic parks, including the allocation of $1.5 million in playground renovations. We've ramped up our focus on sports tourism to drive economic expansion locally. Last year, our world-class golf course hosted 2 PGA qualifiers, resulting in boosted revenue from hotel-motel taxes for the city and bolstering support for the SPLOST program through increased visitor spending. By collaborating with local sports teams such as Atlanta United to provide free soccer clinics clinics to nearly 200 youth, and the Atlanta Hawks to fund scholarships in basketball and volunteer coaching training, we have increased youth athletics by 700%.
It shows that we care as a community about each other all over the city of Douglasville, so that we'll have amenities for everyone that lives here.
We provide impact that matters.
Yay! What an inspiring showcase of the energy and dedication that makes our parks and our community spaces so special. I'm proud to recognize our Parks and Recreation Department, which is led by our director, Mr. Chris Bass, for receiving the National Gold Medal Award for Excellence in Parks and Recreation Management, a well-deserved honor that places Douglasville among the top park systems in the nation. Congratulations to our entire Parks and Recreations team for their outstanding achievement. As if it wasn't enough, opening up all of our parks, Jesse Davis Park had our ribbon cutting that was held on February 7th. The grand opening block party was held this past Saturday, March the 15th, with over 1,000 visitors. This beautiful park is a gateway to Douglasville, helping to transform the entire community and everything around. This project was a $25 million project that the citizens taxed themselves to build up this park. We also had another amazing year of events and activities at the Douglasville Town Green and Greystone Amphitheater. We welcome major artists like KC and the Sunshine Band, do a little dance, Blanco Brown, Robin Thicke, Rebirth Brass Band, Mark Cohen, and Brian McKnight. Upcoming season is Stokely with special guest Leela James, that will be April 5th, El DeBarge will be May 3rd, and Gregory Porter, woo, June 7th. That's why I'm really excited. Our community also came together for signature events like the Wednesday Wind Down Summer Concert Series, our family-friendly Screen on the Green movie nights, outdoor wellness with yoga on the green, the award-winning Church Street Farmers Market, which is recognized by the Georgia Business Journal's Best in Georgia Awards and the recipient of the Governor's Gold Circle Award. Also, brown bag lunches with many concerts on the green. And the festival Jingle Jamboree Christmas Parade and Festival and the annual Christmas tree lighting. These are just some of the events and spaces that Douglasville continues to be placed with community, culture, and connectivity, and this helps us to truly thrive. But a community can't thrive if it doesn't feel safe. Our award-winning chief, Dr. Gary Sparks, and the 2023 Chief of the Year and Police Department of the Year for the state of Georgia, is dedicated to creating a safe, connected, and engaged community through community-oriented policing and active involvement across the entire city. Last year alone, our officers engaged with residents at 200 events, reinforcing trust and building relationships with its people across the city. Community programs and engagements, the department offers a range of programs that encourage residents to participate, to become educated, and to collaborate together. As the chief always says, if you see something, what'd you say, Chief? Say something. This department has Citizens Police Academy, public handgun clinics, town hall meetings and community enrichment meetings, Hollis Street Community House, and Coffee with the Cop, which is held at a lot of the barbershops, and I've been with the chief to a lot of those. The new driver training course project that we are in the progress of acquiring land suitable for this project. This will be a state-of-the-art driving course to help provide advanced driver's training options for our police officers. This facility will also be allowed the police department to offer community programs that focus on driving education for young drivers and safe driving workshops for residents. All of these programs and projects underscore our commitment to a safer, more connected Douglasville, which each resident can feel safe and supported. I'm also proud to announce that this year our Douglasville Police Department achieved a major milestone, earning a Caliga, is that how you pronounce it, Chief? CALIA certification. It's a prestigious national accreditation that recognizes our department's commitment to the highest standards of professionalism, accountability, and service. This achievement reflects the dedication and hard work of our officers and leadership, ensuring that our community receives the best in public safety. Now, this brings us to the next committee that we'll talk about, which is finance. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the money. So financial responsibility and transparency remain top priorities for Douglasville. Each year, independent auditors review our finances to ensure accountability and best practices. We have an award-winning finance department, which is led by our CFO and Assistant City Manager, Ms. Karen Callan. And in 2024 was our 5th consecutive year receiving the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, and our 23rd year consecutive year receiving the Excellence in Financial Reporting honor. Both awards are from the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, and reflects our commitment to high financial standards. Now, the city currently maintains a 10-month of operating reserves, which is well above the 3-month requirement for the state of Georgia for municipal governments, ensuring financial security and flexibility. We're also making smart investments through special funding resources such as SPLOST, Special Local Option Sales Tax, and LMIG funds since 2016. We've paved 42 miles of city streets using these funds, including 31 streets and 6.2 miles of roadway in 2024 alone. 2022 SPLOST, which is $16.3 million collected to date, is funding critical infrastructure projects. And our tax allocation district, the TAD investments, is over $9 million, which has been collected and reinvested back into the community for beautification and infrastructure projects and improvements. By managing resources wisely and leveraging fund opportunities, we continue building a strong, more connected Douglasville for the future. Our commitment to that future extends beyond fiscal responsibility, as is part of our commitment to environmental sustainability. We're excited to announce significant progress on the new Douglasville Recycling Center. I know the citizens are excited about this. We've been waiting for recycling. We broke ground October 25th, 2024, and this facility will provide residents with expanded access to recycling services, supporting our vision of a greener, more sustainable city. This new facility will be opening later this year to serve our entire community. The Recycling Center will serve as a cornerstone of our Go Green Douglasville initiative, reinforcing the city's commitment to sustainability. In the coming months, the city will launch a comprehensive outreach program to educate on everyone, including the resources on how to properly utilize the recycling center and to maximize its benefits. We'll have practical tips on reducing overall waste and community engagement efforts that promote reusable alternatives and sustainable practices. Through these efforts of Go Green Douglasville and Recycling Center, it will empower residents to take an active role in preserving our community one step at a time. But sustainability isn't just about today, it's about investing in our future. And one way that we've done that is by having a program that I'm proud to talk about, which is our Douglasville Internship Program. Douglasville is committed to investing in our youth and the people that are preparing to lead us in the future. This program that we have offers paid interns from students that are in college, and they immerse into developmental program that offers students established workforce skills, valuable work experience in a professional environment, and opportunities to build confidence while preparing for their specific career paths. In 2024, our internship program, we welcome 15 students from across the state, college students that were primarily juniors and seniors in this internship position in different city departments. 6 of those 15 students have transitioned into full-time positions within the city of Douglasville. So that's a blessing. They graduate from college and they come on back and work for the city. Programs like this are more than an investment in individuals, they're an investment in Douglasville's future. By equipping our students today with the skills, knowledge, and experience they need to succeed, we're building a brighter future for our entire community. That brings us to the next part of our journey, which is the last pillar that we'll talk about this evening, which is dream for our future. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Vision is what transforms challenges into opportunities and dreams into reality. Thanks to the dedication of our city staff, we are not just imagining the future, we are planning for it with purpose and clarity. In 2024, we completed and updated our Douglasville Downtown Master Plan. Everything reverberates from your downtown, and it's like the heartbeat. It goes throughout the entire community. Our Downtown Master Plan is centered on creating a vibrant, pedestrian-friendly, walk-friendly downtown with shared use paths, expanding green spaces and public areas. The Downtown Master Plan is where the ideal for the downtown town green originated from. A key component in this update is the upcoming Town Green Phase 2. I know you're wondering about what's going on around that circle, that loop in downtown at the amphitheater. Phase 2 will be a development that will include 300 residential units, 10,000 square feet of retail space to attract more residents and businesses to the heart of our city. These efforts will establish Douglasville's downtown as a thriving urban core where people want to live, work, gather, and play. The Urban Redevelopment Plan focuses on revitalizing underutilized areas and ensuring that our growth is inclusive and sustainable. So beyond our downtown, we want to revitalize every area in the city. We'll have affordable housing, expanding housing opportunities that will meet the needs of residents across all economic levels and income levels. Infrastructure upgrades will improve roads, sidewalks, and utilities, underground utilities in areas targeted for redevelopment. The green spaces ensures all areas have access to the parks, to all our walking trails, and to all the green spaces in our downtown and all over the city. By reimagining these areas, we're fostering equitable growth that benefits both current and future residents. Now we'll move on to another important area that's been laser focused of myself and council members, and it is to continue to dream of Douglasville's future in an area that's incredible potential, which is a New Horizons community. The relocation of Highway 92 has created exciting opportunities for growth, making New Horizons a prime location for new residential, commercial, and recreational developments. Let's take a closer look at the future of New Horizons and the progress we've already made in putting ourselves on the map for progress in the future.
Georgia's New Horizons community is one of the South's best-kept secrets for developers looking to take advantage of untapped business opportunities. Located in the city of Douglasville, Georgia, New Horizons is only 25 miles from downtown Atlanta and a short drive from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Now, business owners and developers can enjoy easy access to all the capital's amenities without the congestion and operating cost in the Atlanta city limits. New Horizons was once a diamond in the rough, but is now prepared for a thriving and abundant community. After decades of working to improve accessibility to the area, there have been significant developments in infrastructure. The construction and rerouting of Highway 92 has created a much-needed, convenient connection between New Horizons and I-20. This included adding lanes, widening the road to alleviate congestion, and routing the new Highway 92 away from the railroads to eliminate traffic snares and backups. This is now the gateway between Douglasville and Paulding County and has officially put New Horizons on the map. With the area in the process of completing other major projects, it won't be long until the untapped potential of New Horizons is discovered by developers. Thanks to a $25 million investment, this regional attraction will serve current and future generations, featuring a synthetic turf football and soccer field, indoor and outdoor basketball courts, volleyball courts, zero-entry splash pad, multi-use trail system, and a senior center dedicated to senior programming opportunities. New Horizons is a business-friendly community intent on fostering a supportive environment in which both businesses and residents thrive. We offer competitive tax incentives and grants for newcomers interested in investing in New Horizons. This area is prime real estate with vast potential that, until now, has been left untapped. With a median household income of $65,000 and homes ranging up to $600,000, this is an ideal area with a rich opportunity for success and spending power to support new development. Companies such as Google, Amazon, American Red Cross, Medline Industries, Switch, and PricewaterhouseCoopers are proud to call Douglasville home. And right now, your business can join them and take advantage of the special tax credit, grants, and benefits of developing in New Horizons. We invite you to break ground with us.
Thank you so much for providing that video to our communications department. The New Horizons area represents the perfect balance of growth and community. From business development opportunities to revitalization of spaces like Jesse Davis Park, we're laying the foundation for a vibrant, connected community. As we continue to dream boldly for Douglasville, New Horizons will be the cornerstone of that vision, driving economic growth while enriching the quality of life for everyone who calls our city home. As we look beyond New Horizons, our vision for Douglasville's future is supported by several key initiatives that will continue to shape our city's growth. Our wayfinding signage plan is enhancing how residents and visitors navigate through Douglasville with new gateway signs and digital displays across this city. Through the new Northside Trail and regional connectivity plans, we're expanding multi-use trails that connect neighborhoods locally and link us to regional networks like the Silver Comet Trail and the Atlanta Beltline. The park's master plan update focuses on growing and enhancing green spaces to support recreation and community wellness programs for all residents. And our comprehensive plan updates serves as a roadmap for sustainable growth, guiding our decisions on housing, transportation, and economic development. These plans are not just the city's vision, they are the community's vision. Through public input meetings, citizen involvement, and resident surveys, we ensured that every step forward reflected the voices of our citizens' ideals and priorities for the people who call Douglasville home. Because what truly defines Douglasville is the spirit of our people, our story isn't just about projects and plans and progress, it's about people, about community and connections and connectivity to each other, and a shared vision that carries us forward. As we look toward the future, we recognize that in order to continue serving our residents, our businesses, and future generations, we must ensure our city's foundation remains strong. For many years, City Hall has operated in a building that was never designated or designed to be a government facility. Originally, City Hall was a historic Alpha Theater. The space has undergone countless changes. We've had renovations, reconfigurations. We tried to expand all the facilities, all in an effort to accommodate a growing staff and increasing community needs. A few years ago, we made our final attempt to renovate the inside, maximizing every available square footage and opportunity to better serve our employees and our residents when you come to City Hall. But now we have reached the absolute limits of what this space can provide, even with expansion to the old conference center space as a City Hall annex. Our staff is out of room. There's no more room in the end. Our facilities can no longer support the needs of a growing community, and the aging structure has deteriorated beyond renovations and what can be fixed. It is time for a City Hall that meets the needs of today while preparing for the Douglasville of tomorrow. So tonight, I'm proud to officially announce that at the end of this year, City Hall staff will be temporarily relocated as we begin construction on a brand new, like baby doll and at Christmas time in a new train. We're going to have a brand new City Hall, a facility designed to serve our residents, the businesses that come to do business in the city, and city employees for generations to come. And here's what makes this moment even more significant. Thanks to the hard work of our staff and the conservative financial principles that are been upheld by this council, we provide a positive fund balance that we discussed earlier of 10 months or 10 months of fund balance will allow us to fully fund this project with no financial impact on our residents. This new city hall will stand as a symbol of progress, efficiency, and service, a space designed not just to meet the needs of today, but to support the growth and aspirations of Douglasville for futures to come, generations to come. But a building alone does not define the city, it's the people, those who invest their time, talent, and energy, who truly shape our future. And that future isn't built by city government alone, it's built by the creativity of our small business owners, the dedication of our community leaders, the passion of our volunteers, the voices of our residents. It's all of us working together that make Douglasville a city that we love. So let's continue this work with purpose, determination, and unity. Let's honor the past by building a future filled with promise and opportunity for generations to come. Thank you all for your trust, your partnership, and the privilege of serving you as mayor. May God continue to bless the city of Douglasville, Douglas County, the great state of Georgia, and the United States of America. Thank you all for your time and attention this evening. God bless you. The city is strong. I know we have a small crowd, so I can open the floor for any questions before we go into the rest of our council meeting, if anyone's brave enough to ask a question. Okay, if you're thinking about it, yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. A food desert? Yes, sir. All right, so we can talk about it with our community development director as far as a grocer. So what we've done with the video, if you see the video that we've... Pardon me? Okay, maybe it's going to be put online early. I'm not sure. We'll talk to technology. But the video shows you the footprint that we put for developers to come. And so that has been given to marketing and to economic development director to market for the city to bring a grocer and whomever else wants to invest in the city. So what the city does is sets you can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. So what the city does is provide the infrastructure, and we help give tax incentives to help bring people to the community. So we've done what we have to do as a city to build up what is in our arsenal, and then we'll invite developers to come.
That sounds great, Ms. Moore.
Yes, sir.
I noticed I've watched y'all build city annex areas, build infrastructure, going to those, down on the south side down there. Everywhere it's being built around, you're passing over that. You say you have no control of that. I just don't believe it. I've been here for 30 years.
Me too.
And yet there's not but two restaurants on this side across the railroad tracks. And y'all call it a whole different, you make it by saying New Horizon as if it's a different part of Douglasville. This is how it's been treated since I've been here. It bothers me to see that you have a street with half of the street lights don't work, but we're about to spend all this money for a golf course. So I don't feel like I should have to pay for it.
Yeah, I disagree. I hear what you're saying, but I lived in Stone Creek for 25 years, which is in New Horizons area. As we said, the median household income is $65,000 a year per home. When I lived there 25 years ago, we didn't have a $25 million park. We didn't have a $118 million road that diverted us from traffic. We didn't bring new subdivisions where homes are $600,000. That was not the case. That is facts. That's the story right now. It wasn't that way 25 years ago. It wasn't that way 10 years ago.
It's not that way today.
It is.
It's not.
Okay.
It was $25 million on the park, that only different improvements was, you redid the basketball court, it's the same walk area, that it still floods down there behind the pool, that was a problematic before, and now it's the same problem.
We disagree, but I respect your opinion. And I told you facts, it's not my opinion, it's not what I think or what I feel, it's what it is. Okay. Yes, sir. That's your opinion. Okay, we're not gonna argue, this not a argue session. I presented what it is, the facts state for themselves, and I've said what they are. So any other questions? Yes, sir. You can stand up, please, give your name and address. Uh-huh. It's a link for the tickets, and so the link, our sponsor is Greystone, and so. Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
I've actually outlined an outline as to the scenario I went through to get tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I can share with you. And I thought it was built for the community of Douglasville.
It is.
It seemed unfortunate that as a citizen, I'm unable to grab a ticket when they call in 2 minutes.
Well, it's first come, first serve with the tickets, and then you can be put on a wait list. And for us to have them for the community and the sponsors, they pay for the artist, and that's how the tickets are free. So it really is first come, first serve.
I guess my first question is that the citizens of Douglasville paying for the theater and the entertainment?
No, sir. Greystone is paying for the artist and our hotel motel tax.
It's actually open to everyone.
Yes, no, it's,
My concern is that, as a citizen of Douglasville, I'm unable to get tickets, and people outside of Douglasville are. And I understand you're saying first come, first served. Procedures to the max. And what else can I do?
that's it.
That's it?
Yep, yes, sir. I mean, unless you want to buy a ticket, which they're not for sale. So that's not our model, to have tickets where you can purchase tickets. And even if you were to buy tickets at a venue, there's a capacity. So we only have enough tickets for the capacity that we have for the amphitheater. So,
I'll use the Wednesday wine that night as an example. I'm able to attend that, no problem.
yes, sir.
So explain the difference.
I guess people don't come to Wednesday Wine Down as like they come to the tickets for the amphitheater.
Actually, I think it's just the opposite. Everybody comes to wine down because there's no criteria for us coming, you just come. In order to attend the amphitheater, certain entertainers, you have to attend the ticket to, I think it's Eventbrite,
Yes, sir.
which really seems to be the problem.
I don't know what to tell you. That's how it is.
So it's just unfortunate.
Yes, sir. So I apologize, it's first come, first serve. That's just, and Wednesday Wine Down is something that the city gives, but because we have a sponsor and they have to pay for the artist, that's the format that we use with the company, the CRS.
I guess my concern is how can there be how can first come, first served does not, I would like to leave this with you,
Yes, sir, that's fine.
take a look at it,
And maybe we can do a recommendation on how, but that's just how, or city manager. Yeah, but that's how it's first come, first serve. And I don't think we discriminate against city residents or not.
if you take a look at that, I would like to, if we can discuss it further.
Sure. Yes, sir. Any other, yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You?
Some of the problems that we got, senior citizens is not savvy with dealing with a lot of the stuff that they have to go through to get these tickets. Okay, that's one of the problems. When you do go online to get these tickets, you got a time frame you put in that slot to get the ticket. Some kind of way we need to look at that to see about senior citizens that's not savvy, that's trying to get tickets.
Yeah.
Because that is a problem. You know what I'm saying? I have ran into it myself. But what I'm saying is that is a problem for the city. And like I said, we got to be transparent and look out for the seniors too.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how we can do it to make it fair, because right now it's fair. You know, technology, like we said, DC Block is passing me by. I have college, my last baby is a senior in college. So if I need to get some stuff on Amazon and I'm trying to get packages every day. I call and ask my kids to help me if I can't do it. So maybe, we can have, I know we have some computer training free at our center at Jesse Davis Park. Is that Mr.? Yeah, we have senior classes there and at Hunter Park for seniors to take to get, buffed up on technology. But that's the fair way. They're free tickets. They're free. So you just have to get on there and try. And it's almost 40,000 people in the city of Douglasville. The capacity for the amphitheater is just that. It's that capacity of 3,000 people. So the first 3,000 people that come are the first ones who get the tickets. And so we don't discriminate on who gets the tickets because they're free. Yes, sir. So.
Capacity when it's dealing with the concert.
Mm-hmm.
You have to meet the fire marshal capacity. I get a
Yes, sir.
request on it. Trust me, I know.
Yes, sir.
And Wine Dine is not a capacity like that because it's not an open concert.
Right.
And the city do pay out money to these artists, because I got paperwork that a certain amount of money that we pay out to these artists, because I had to do an open record request. So if Greystone is footing the whole bill, why is we paying invoices?
I did say it was Greystone and hotel motel tax. So it's the people who come and stay in the hotels, and that's the portion that pays for the artists. So it's not coming from city taxpayer dollars. It's coming from Greystone, who is the sponsoring, main sponsor, and then hotel motel tax pays the rest. So it's not, the city taxpayer dollars that's paying for the artists. But again, it's a free concert, and it's the fair way that the model that we have is not ticketed, it's first come, first serve. I've gone to Maple House to see Kim and different artists, Gregory Porter, and however you people can fit in Maple House, that's how many tickets they sell. They don't sell 10,000 tickets because they can't hold 10,000 people. So we hold 3,000 people, and the first 3,000 people to get the tickets are the ones who come to the concert. That's just the way it is. Wednesday Wind Down is a different model, so we don't have to have, like the chief, we have a security company, we have to make sure that people are safe, and those national artists are safe. So that's why we have, a certain amount, and it's more guarded than our regular Wednesday Wind Down with local artists that we have. But thank you. Yes, sir. Okay. I will. Yes, sir, I definitely will. All righty. Well, thank you all so much. We appreciate your time, and we'll transition into the voting meeting for the council. Thank you so much. God bless you. All righty. I will go over the rules for the meeting, and then we'll get into, bless you, into our meeting. My name is Rochelle Robinson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council voting meeting. The items that we'll discuss this evening, official action will be taken on those items. It was information that was presented to us last Thursday at our legislative work session. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time for the agenda item under comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss your business. There are just a few protocol issues I'd like to go over with you this evening, and then we'll get into the meat of the meeting. I ask that you please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair. If you deviate from that warning, a second deviation will result in us asking you to leave the chambers for the evening. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to speakers or speak from the audience, cheer, or carry on a conversation when you're at the podium. Please address all of your concerns and comments to myself or the chair of that committee when you're talking at the podium. I'll remind you that we're only required to accept public comments during the required public hearings. And if you have any materials that you would like to disseminate to myself and council members, I ask that you please give those to our Assistant City Clerk, and she will make copies, Ms. Candace James, and she will make copies and disseminate those to myself and council members. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, I ask that you would please put those in silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so they will not be disruptive. And this is how the agenda items will be handled. The committee chairperson will read their agenda item, then that person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation. After that, myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions because this is a voting meeting. After that, the committee chairperson, if it's a public hearing, will have 20 minutes for those that are in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. When you come to the podium, please give us your name and address for the record. If you'd like to talk to us this evening, we ask that you would please fill out a blue speaker card. They're outside on the desk. You fill that card out, hand it to Ms. Candace, and she will put your information into the record. You give your name and address when you come to the podium, and then you have 5 minutes to talk. After that, we ask that you present your information. It's not a question and answer debate format. We're just here to hear the information, deliberate, make our decisions. I think that's it. If you have a cell phone, I already said if you would turn those down so they won't be disruptive during the meeting. And we'll move into the meat of the meeting. Now, there are agendas outside if you'd like to have an agenda, a paper agenda, but if not, you can follow us on the screen. So now we go by committee, so we'll move on to the next committee after all of these announcements. Hopefully, we're all on the same page. I'll move on to item number 5. Yes, sir. Adoption of the regular meeting agenda for March 17th, 2025. I open the floor for a motion to approve item 25-085.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved by Councilmember Estes and second by Councilmember Terry Miller to approve item 25-085. All those, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns, council? Not hearing any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-085 is unanimously approved. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. I will open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes of February 27th, 2025, which was committee meetings, executive session, and legislative work session, and the minutes of March 3rd, 2025, which is also committee meetings, executive session, and a regular meeting. That is item 25-086. Open the floor for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Watts. Have a motion to approve. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Estes. It's been properly moved in second, moved by Councilmember Watts and second, Councilmember Estes, to approve item 25-086. Do we have any comments, questions, concerns, any corrections to the minutes? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-086 is unanimously approved. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda. I do know that we've taken some items out of the consent agenda that were put in at the work session, which is fine. But I would like to say to the council members, don't feel shy or uncomfortable. If you have concerns about items for the consent agenda and the chair asks for it to be placed on the consent agenda, just go ahead and say you need time over the weekend to think about it, or you need more information, so we don't have to put things on the consent agenda. So we do have some of those, 2 or 3 items were removed from the consent agenda that we said were going to be there last Thursday so that we can have further discussion. But, so if you hear us talking about some things that we said were on the consent agenda, they were pulled off for that reason, for more conversation. All right, so open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. I have a motion to approve. Second. May I have a second, please?
Second.
I had dueling, triple seconds. Who did I get, Ms. Candace? Whom? Mayor Pro Tem? Okay, thank you. It's been properly moved in second, item 25-124, or the consent agenda, which is that item, items 25-116, 25-121, and 25-073. It's been properly moved by Councilmember Estes and second by Mayor Pro Tem to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we have any concerns, questions, comments? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is unanimously approved. We'll move on now to Economic Development Committee, chaired by Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have a couple of items.
All righty.
Item A is to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Mike Westmoreland Contracting, Inc. for the West Pines Golf Course RFB 2024-016 Golf Irrigation Sprinklers Replacement and New Irrigation Controls Project in the amount of $1,225,900, funded by SPLOST 2022. And at the podium, we have Mr. Bass.
Thank you, Coach Watts. Mayor Robinson, members of the council, at Chris Bass, 8830 Gurley Road. We're here to follow up on our presentation last Thursday that Mr. Cartwright presented on this particular RFB. There were a few questions that came up, so we wanted to provide some clarifying information. You should be able to see the short presentation that was added later this afternoon by our clerk's office, starting with a logo of West Pines Golf Club. And I'll use that to guide my comments and the information we want to share pertaining specifically to the RFBs and what who has submitted in our history of putting RFBs out for West Pines Golf Course. What we've noticed is with several projects that we've undergone at West Pines is the type of project does have play a major factor in how many responses we get to those RFBs. A great example, there was a maintenance RFP that we put out and we were able to receive 3 bids. However, there are certain RFBs that we put out that are specific to golf course and require a certain technical skill or experience that we have not gotten a lot of responses on. And I have a few of them listed here. We put an RFB out in January of 2023 for the irrigation pump house, the pump station, that stayed out for 30 days, and we received no bids on that particular RFB. We also did another RFB that was specific to the driving range, putting green, and a few other improvements that was sent out on March 20th, 2023. And the deadline for that one was April 19th, 2023, and we also received no bids for that particular project. Here's another technical one that we're speaking on today. The West Pines Golf Club sprinkler replacement irrigation controls. That RFP was issued in November 25th, 2024. I'm sorry, that's a typo. And the deadline for that one was January 22nd, 2025. We extended it. We went 2 months for this particular one because we recognized that the 30 days may not have been enough time, so we added a little bit more time, and we got one bidder back. So we have experienced some challenges historically with these specific RFPs that are to golf course, to the golf course industry. I do want to show a few pictures just to give an overview. We talked about this during our finance committee meeting, but I do want to just give a little clarification in terms of what this project entails, and Mr. Cartwright will be able to give a deeper perspective as he operates the day-to-day operations of the golf course. But some of these pictures I've shown here are your golf course at its best. You see on the first 3 pages of this presentation, you'll see where the greens are plush, they're well maintained, and this is typically what you'll get at your asset, West Pines Golf Course. What this details, in order for this to be done, is a lot of manpower for our team. We're working off the original system that was put in place back in 2005, 2006, when the golf course went under renovation right after the acquisition. And that's 485 sprinkler heads on that old system. We've been piecemealing it since, but we've reached a point where we can't really continue to go at that rate if you're going to have that top quality course. One of the major challenges with this is if we have a drought similar to what we had last year. There was almost a 2-month time span where we didn't get a lot of rain. We rely heavily on the elements. And if we don't get that rain, we have major issues at our golf course. And those greens that were, that major investment to convert to Bermuda greens, we were at risk of losing those greens. So we had to go out. A few of our staff members were out actually hand watering in order to be able to protect the greens. So you'll see a few pictures of what your fairways look like during that drought in June 2024. You'll see those areas that are specific to the golf course where you have folks usually playing your fairways and your greens, and a constant challenge trying to keep them watered when we don't have the rain, because it's requiring individuals to go out and actually physically turn these valves on. So I'll let Mr. Cartwright speak a little bit more to the process, but I just want to share these pictures to show what this asset would look like if we don't do something soon. Also wanted to make mention of the process, and here are a few other pictures too of the current pump house that we're operating off of. I want to show, really quick, speak to the funding source. This is a SPLOST-funded project. So, Mayor Robinson, similar to your presentation where you talked about some of the things we've been able to do with SPLOST funds, this is another one. And it's specific to West Pines because West Pines is a major sports tourism driver for the community. I have listed here a few of the tournaments we have coming up this year. We have our Georgia PGA tournament. We have a Georgia State Golf Qualifier. We have 2 universities that host tournaments. And as you see with Oglethorpe University, we're bringing in about 20 colleges and universities from around the country. Same with Emory. And then our American Junior Golf Association with the amateur tournament as well. So that really helps boost that tourism. And realistically, our visitors are paying into our SPLOST, which is why we've chosen this resource to be able to put back and continue to have that high quality service. So we have visitors using our course, we have residents using our course, and it's just been a huge driver for us. So if you have any questions for me specifically, I'm happy to answer, but I'd like to yield to Mr. Cartwright to give a little bit more context on the operation. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Chris Cartwright, 9090 Rose Avenue. So I think Chris did a great job summarizing the project and the purpose of the project. And, you know, not to get too into the weeds about staffing, but when we are in that drought and hand watering like we are without the automated system and without having sprinklers that are reliable that we can program to run overnight automated, we're dedicating 2 or 3 staff members half of their day just to getting water on the greens. And that's not even including fairways and tees. So when we get to these drought situations, we end up managing a golf course with what feels like half a staff because they have to dedicate so much time to keeping the product alive. And I'm, here to answer any more questions if there's any specifics y'all would like to get into, so just let me know.
Stand by, Mr. Cartwright. Before we get to you, I just was wondering if City Manager Hampton had any comments that she'd like to make.
Yes, sir. As was mentioned by these 2 gentlemen, the one thing that I do want to stress to you all as you make your decision, I know there's some contemplation between the fact that there's just one bid, the dollar amount. Well, I can pretty much assure you, and I'm pretty certain Mr. Cartwright mentioned this last week, that $1.2 million number is not going to go any lower. So if you make the decision tonight that you don't want to move forward on this project, in order to maintain your asset, it's only going to increase the cost of the service. We also cannot guarantee you that if you put it back out to bid that you're going to get more than one bidder. There are certain things that we do in particular, as we've expanded and our services have expanded, that you're only going to get a limited number of vendors who do certain types of services, and this happens to be one of those. So you've put the information out. That number is now posted as a part of public meeting. There's no guarantee that this current bidder would not come back and give you a higher cost and a higher price. The other thing that I would say is that by not doing anything and continuing on in the method in which we're utilizing and maintaining those greens, you're going to cost yourself additional resources, not just through manpower, but through replacing the $400,000 Bermuda greens that you just recently replaced. So from a funding standpoint, SPLOST funds for your 2022 SPLOST were always dedicated to do this specific project. So when we went out to the public for SPLOST, it was specifically West Pines to take care of this project. I wish we would have gotten more bidders, but we're not at that point. But it really is completely at your discretion. We want you to understand what your risk would be if you chose not to move forward on this project at this time, that we cannot guarantee that you're going to expend less funds than the $1.2 million that's there.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Mr. Cartwright, hold your spot right there. I'm going to start with Madam Mayor, and then we'll jump down there to Councilman Estes and work our way back this way for anybody that has any questions. If you don't, just pass it on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chris and Chris, for the presentation, and City Manager. Just to give some context for the council, I was actually on City Council when we voted as an elected official or as a body to take on West Pines as an asset. And it was kind of controversial, but it was, the citizens seemed to want to have this green space and to have this amenity in the city of Douglasville. And making that investment over 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, because it was 2025 when we took on the golf course, it is paying for itself at this point. And it's an expensive asset. It's just like the pools. Now, you all know when I sign that ledger for the checks every week, a lot of times it's the golf course, the police department, and the parks with the pool. It's an expensive asset, but it's paying for itself. The money, the $1.2 million for council, I know you know this, is from special purpose local option sales tax. So it's for people that are coming to Arbor Place Mall, that are spending money at Publix and Walmart and all over. It's a tax, it's that penny that people from all over, citizens and whoever else come from all over the community to go to shop. That's where the money is coming from. And when we bring people in like Morehouse had their golf tournament, and these colleges that come in, they're bringing people in that are staying in the hotels paying taxes. So it pays for itself. But I know it's expensive, but it is not coming out of the general fund. It's coming out of SPLOST, and it's starting to pay for itself. It's starting to make itself stand on its own 2 feet from 2005 to 2025. So I just wanted to put that in context. And as I asked Mr. Cartwright, I think I did ask you this. It was a lot of stuff going on last Thursday. But with the 18 holes, one area might have shade and another area has a lot of sun. But if you have it manually out there turning it on with this system, this irrigation system, you can look on the panel to see which area needs more water than the other. So you can turn hole 9 off and water hole 3 or hole 18. So it makes it where it's just easier to do. It's more automated. It's not AI, but kind of smart AI to help with watering the golf course rather than having an actual person and having staff go out there turning them levers trying to put the water down. So I know I said a whole lot of jimper jammer. Hopefully it's given some context to where we are. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilman Estes, we'll start with you. If you have any questions for Chris.
I have to admit, I was one of the people that had some raised eyebrows over this item. Seeing that there was only one bid and, $1.2 million, it just seemed a little concerning. But you guys have explained, along with Ms. Hampton, the work needs to be done one way or the other. It's either going to be you guys watering it and wasting staff time, or dealing with this antiquated system. And if we wait and put it out to rebid, the cost is quite likely to go up. Plus, we've got the time frame that we're adding probably another year to the process, because we will miss the growing period, growing time, I understand. So then we're looking at quite possibly another 400,000 plus replacement of greens in other areas. You know, it's no fun to approve over $1 million for watering grass, but considering that this, the golf course is almost self-supporting at this point. And the only way we're going to get closer to being self-supporting is by maintaining it and improving it at every stage that we can. So while I'm not thrilled about the whole idea, I don't see that we really have an option at this point. So thank you.
Yeah, and if I can comment on that, as the staff level, that is our goal, is to have the golf course be self-sustainable. And I'm very proud of how far we have taken it, but I think we probably have taken it as far as we can with this current system.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's all.
Before we go to
Chairman.
the next question, just real quick, how often your expertise in golf courses and maintenance, I know more with West Pines, but you've been around, how often do golf courses have to redo their irrigation systems? Is this something that once you put it in, it's set for life, or is it something has to be done periodically?
In general, I think the answer I've been given is roughly 30 years. Now, what my hope is once this new system is in, everything will be from the same manufacturer, interchangeable components. So if in 10 years something has an issue, we can replace just that item. We wouldn't be replacing the whole system. As it currently stands, the system is a whole bunch of different companies.
Yes. Councilman Davis, you have any questions?
Yes, have you ventured out to Mirror Lake? I'm sure you have Mirror Lake, and their course look real nice. They got a good water system.
They do have a good water system. I don't know the exact brand that they use, but they do have a 36-hole facility out there, and they're obviously well known for the lake around the clubhouse, hence the name Mirror Lake. And so they have a well-funded watering source to pull water from, and I would say they're probably in good standing in that area.
Okay.
Is it manual, Craig?
I would assume that theirs is not antiquated.
Yeah,
as
theirs
ours
not
is.
manual.
Yes.
Anything else, Councilman Davis?
What is, how old is this golf course? This golf course has been around a long, long time.
West Pines?
Yes.
The first 9 holes, I believe, was built in 1965. And there was another 9 added on roughly 10 years following that. And then in 2005, with the SPLOST that Mayor Robinson spoke about, I think it was a 2002 SPLOST
Yes,
perhaps?
2002.
With that project, the golf course was totally renovated and rerouted. So all the holes, they're on the same property, but none of the original holes are still in use. No
new sprinkler system when it was redone.
When the project in 2005 took place, a new-to-us sprinkler system was installed. I think there were some pre-owned parts that were perhaps used and why the lifeline wasn't as long as we would like.
Okay, that's all I have, Councilman Watts.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris, you really made me feel bad now knowing that I am older than West Pines Golf Course. I've had to go through a few renovations myself over the years, so.
It happens.
I will sort of agree with Councilman Estes. My first reaction on seeing, $1.2 million being spent on a watering system for a lot of grass, is that it's a tremendous indulgence on the city's part, that we can think of better ways to spend, even if it's SPLOST funds, can we think of better ways of spending that money? However, as has been pointed out, West Pines is an asset to the community, and it's, if you think of it in terms of, you know, okay, I don't play golf, I can count on one hand the number of times I've been out there, because Chris, you've not invited me, that's on you.
Officially invited.
But, you know, a lot of people don't play tennis, and I utilize the tennis courts, and I enjoy that. Some people don't play pickleball, and you know, we have facilities for that. So, you know, it's one of an array of opportunities that the city offers to its residents. So, you know, if we just offered one recreational opportunity, it wouldn't be a very fun place to hang out. Something that's also been expressed out there, I've heard some opinions from some folks saying, well, why doesn't the golf course just pay for it itself? Well, I think one of the things folks have to understand is the golf course doesn't have its own balance sheet. You know, the money that the golf course brings in goes into the general budget, and then out of the general budget, we go and spend for operations, maintenance, and whatever's needed. So I think folks need to understand that the golf course isn't writing its own checks. You know, it's not managed that way. And I think that good presentation has been made so far on the balance itself. I don't know if our finance director has some comments that she'd like to add on the plus-minus side of it, but it sounds like there's a lot of, you know, this sounds like something that will pay for itself in the next couple of years. It doesn't pay for itself immediately, but over, you know, if you want to call it an amortized length of time, it will pay for itself. If we think of it as in terms of a business, you have to reinvest in a business. You can't just simply let it go and say, you know, that just go on its own momentum, or assume that just revenues will always meet the demand at that given moment. Businesses have to have reinvestment. That's what this does. Plus, I think as the mayor pointed out, there's a lot of ancillary benefits that come from this. And we've got 2 PGA tournaments that came through here last year, and what is it, 2 more this year that are coming, plus several college tournaments that are coming. You know, not every dollar that gets spent related to the golf course goes directly to the golf course. A lot of it goes to the hotels, some of it goes to the restaurants, some of it goes to the businesses at the mall. We have a lot of benefits that come out of this. It's not just simply what the single dollar that's spent at the golf course. So I think that's a fairly satisfying notion to contemplate at this time. I don't know if you want to have this finance director, let her say a few words if she has on the, I think that's your indulgence.
Ms. Cowan, come on forward. Hold on.
Ms. Hampton, this was on a SPLOST ballot.
This project
And it was a designated project, wasn't it?
to pay for funds for West Pines.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, okay, just so the council be clear, this isn't money you can just dump into the general fund. If it's a designated SPLOST project and you have the money to deal with it, then under the law, you're supposed to use it for that project. If you didn't have the money, you could declare it unfeasible and apply it to another project. But if you've got the funds, I think you may have to spend it for this project only.
But my other point was that the money that the golf course makes does go back into the general fund, correct? That doesn't go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
it's
the
like
point.
any other city department.
Right, that's the point I wanted to make, is that it's not keeping its own balance sheet in this particular case. So.
Ms. Cowan, go ahead.
Yes, Karen Callan, Chief Financial Officer, Assistant City Manager. Just some additional comments is that this is a 30-year useful life of $1.2 million. So if you want to see the annual cost, 1.2 divided by 30. Also, that if you don't do this, then the greens that we invested, that we got about 8 years ago at $400,000 is probably going to be, it's probably doubled that to replace the greens. So that's about $800,000. So council, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, that is how we would get a return on our investment. There is probably more increased play because from what I understand from Chris Cartwright, that is one advantage that golf course players like to see are nice greens. But also we did discuss that this irrigation system is environmentally friendly and it will help the environment. And we could easily rebid it out, but at that point you miss your growing season, as Councilman Esty said. So those were just some additional comments that we wanted to make for you all.
Thank you. Councilman Miller? N?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to take a moment and thank staff because I know that we've all had a couple of questions to come up since last Thursday that we've thought of, so I really appreciate you guys. helping us out, pulling that off the consent so that we could go back through it and have a better understanding of that bid process and what that really looked like and why we may have only had one bid or at times having no bids. And I think for myself, it was really helpful also to put it into perspective, those growing seasons and what that could potentially look like for us financially if we were to rebid that, and having to miss the growing season and what that alone would cost the city. And just sitting here looking at this sheet and knowing that the PGA tournaments that come through, the colleges that come through, but also wanted to remind you guys of all of our local high schools that play out there and practice out there. And I know I myself really enjoy seeing those kids because they're not allowed to use the carts. They have to walk the course with their bags, and I think it's really character building for those guys. I feel like it is an asset for our community, and I don't think anyone wants to go and spend $1.2 million on it, but I can see where it could cost us a lot more if we don't do it. So thank you for taking the time to explain that to us.
Thank you, Councilwoman Miller. Councilwoman Elena.
Thank you, sir. The great part about being last is that most of your questions get answered while you were patiently waiting to ask your questions. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate staff kind of breaking it down. So I don't want to be repetitive. I just want to make sure I'm fully understanding this. And for people listening as well, yes, this is a significant investment that we are placing on our it's a public investment is what it is. And I'm certain that with what staff's laid out to us, that if we were to not pursue this necessary investment, that it would end up burdening and costing our taxpayers more in the long run. And I don't want to incorrectly quote our Assistant City Manager, Karen Callan, but parks are not generally revenue-producing assets for cities and enterprises. Is that safe to say? Okay. And while we're not bankrolling in the golf course, we are on the on the path of it does generate revenue. So that's fair to say. And so I understand everyone's concerns and hesitancy, and I think that it's very valid, but, even to our city attorney's point, we are in somewhat confined by how we can properly utilize these SPLOST funds. And I believe Mayor Pro Tem Miller mentioned that the golf course does not have its separate enterprise fund. It is just all the money that you make every time a credit card swipes at West Pines goes back into the city's general fund. So you don't get your own pot to play with.
Correct.
Okay. And Ms. Callan already kind of went over that increasing expenditure that it would be to put this off as well.
The cheapest time to do it is now, even if we don't like the price we got back.
Okay, and I appreciate that you've laid out this bids, you've put that up for everyone to see as well, so there's no, it's clear that we did it properly, like we do any other type of bid that we place out for the city. And to Director Bass's point, and he explained this to me in greater detail too, you just don't have as many companies that are able to do this specialized work, and so that made sense too in this area. So I don't want to keep rambling. I want to make sure that we're hitting all the points and that we fully, everybody watching and everybody in the audience understands, what we're faced with, and also what staff faced with, and what the community's faced with, and that is an investment into our community. And while I may not personally be a golfer, I do understand the benefit that it brings, the tourism that it brings, and I think that it's necessary that if we're going to maintain this asset, we do it to the best of our ability, like we do every other thing in the city. And I think that we've done a great job with that, with everything else we've done. So I will cut myself off there and say thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you. All right, council, thank you, and just for the...
Excuse me, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I just have one follow-up. Ms. Callen, you said, and I guess, Chris, you could probably answer this as well. This has an expected life of 30 years.
Yes, sir.
So if you do divide that up, it's just over $40,000 a year. That sounds a lot more palatable, even though we have to pay it all at once. The fact that it's going to last for 30 years, is, I think it's a little bit easier to swallow. Thanks.
If you pay that as a mortgage, it'd be a lot more than 40,000.
Mr. Chair, I just have one other thing to add before you closed your comments, for comments.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, did you have something else?
Yes, sir, that's what I was going to say. I was doing you see, I was dividing right here. I had $40,000 too, for annually. But the other thing is, that's important for me to reiterate to the council is what Mr. Dotson said, our attorney, that legally, we are bound to spend the SPLOST dollars on what the citizens voted for in the SPLOST. It was 2022 was the last SPLOST. So the next SPLOST from 2022 through 2026, we have to spend, that's correct, those are right, am I doing the right years?
Your next opportunity for a SPLOST would be 28.
28. So we have to spend those resources based on what the citizens voted for. They put a portion in for public safety, for facilities, for parks, transportation. So we have to spend the allocated resources legally on what we said to the citizens we were going to spend it on and what they voted on. And it's not, it's majority, and it passed that way, so that's what we need to spend the resources on. And this is part of what the parks and West Pines, what we said we were going to spend it on. We just didn't know the dollar amount, but the proportion or the percentages is what they voted on, correct?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Did you have anything else to cover, Mr. Cartwright?
I think I'm good unless there's other questions.
Just real
City
quick,
manager.
where do we rank? The public course, West Pines, is in the top 5 in the state, is it not?
There's a website out there, golfadvisor.com, similar to a TripAdvisor. And if you break it down to public courses, and they have a Metro Atlanta ranking, haven't checked lately, but I want to say we were number 2 or number 3 in the public courses. So we've come a long way, no doubt.
And also, in the county, is there another golf course that has more people golfing rounds than our golf course?
I'm going to say no, even though I don't have the data,
Well,
but I'm going to say no.
I know we don't have the data, but I've been told that by more than one source. And so my point is we own it. We're going to take care of it and make it so that whether you golf or not is something that the city's going to take care of. It's an asset. So
Just like we take care of the baseball fields. Same thing. City manager.
Ms. Hampton, city manager.
Yes, and just not to belabor the point on anything that was said, the mayor was correct on your SPLOST funds. Just to remind you all, we're in a process of PAYGO, as our assistant city manager, CFO, always says. We collect the money and we spend it. We really are up against time to some degree on spending these funds via 2028, so that if we're going back to the citizens to ask for them to vote for an additional SPLOST, that we can say we expended this money. To your attorney's point, we had a list of projects that we selected. This was one of those projects that was selected to be renovated. The other is, just so that you all are not sticker shock moving forward, I know Ms. Callen is going to present to you information, and I know the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned as well about the cost of items moving forward based on tariffs and the climate. Your average garbage truck today costs $350,000. You're really not going to get a system of 400-plus sprinkler heads that is going to cost you less than $1 million. It's not going to happen. So when we bring some of these items to you as you're talking to the constituents, we're going to try to do a better job as staff as putting these dollar amounts in perspective but we're in a place where in order to maintain your capital assets, you're not probably gonna see much that's gonna come across the dais that's less than $500,000. It is just a cost of keeping up with your capital infrastructure and your capital assets. And if we don't do the upkeep over time, as was mentioned, you're probably gonna spend double that amount of money on your buildings.
Thank you, City Manager. I'm going to apologize. Last Thursday, I probably could have had a couple more questions. As a council member, I don't want to ever take our citizens' trust and what they're willing to allow or not voice their opinion about. And so I appreciate the fact that we've had some folks, the transparency that we're trying to bring forth on this particular item today is because we had some folks that were asked some questions, some council members that were concerned about the cost. And so I probably didn't ask enough questions or, assumed, so I apologize for even asking for it to be put on consent agenda. That's the type of item that should have been carried over today. And I just appreciate staff, Mr. Cartwright, Mr. Bass, City Manager, Deputy City Manager, just coming here today and shedding some light on this. And I hope the citizens that had concerns, that their concerns were at least cleared up. You could feel the way you want to feel about a golf course, but the citizens voted on it a number of years ago to acquire it. And if we're going to acquire it, we're going to take care of it. Any other questions or comments before I make a motion? I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve item 25-033.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved by the Chair, Councilmember Watts, and second by Councilmember Estes to approve item 25-033 with much needed and appreciated conversation. Do we have any other last minute or last concerns that anyone wants to say on the council? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving item 25-033, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-033 is unanimously approved. Thank you, staff.
All right, we have another item under Finance. Authorize the mayor to sign the agreement for preferred client staffing services with Titan Global Enterprises, Inc. For event staffing and security at the Greystone Amphitheater Concert Series, funded by the general fund, and the contracts may vary by concert. And I'm going to turn to Dr. Chief Sparks, and if you could shed some light on this particular contract.
Yes, sir. I think we have utilized this company before in the past, and they did a good job for us. I know there's some questions about why we don't have officers banning that position down there. Number one, we just don't have enough officers to do it. We'll be paying these security guards $27.54 an hour. We had police officers, you're going to be paying $60 an hour. And then, again, we're running at least 8 officers, depending on the act that's coming. And we're usually having about 15 or 20 of the security people. So we're manning a command post, we're manning drones, and our officers are there to ensure that the laws are being adhered to. Now, the security people, they will be able to do the things, the ordinances that covers the amphitheater, looking in people's bags. See, that could become advantageous for the police. Because you could have a Fourth Amendment issue there. So they look, we stand at these positions of entry. We have positions throughout the amphitheater where we place our men. Our command post is located nearby. We have a commander and one of their commanders and myself is at the command post, and we get and make sure that the streets are safe and blocked off, because, you know, I have to prepare for something that occurred, like what occurred in New Orleans. To make sure, I gotta look down the road, make sure that don't happen here in Douglasville. Or I don't have somebody on one of the top of these buildings trying to disrupt a concert. So we have, all of those things are put in place, and we haven't had any issues with this company. I think when we first started off with Gladys Knight, I think we might have had about 35 or 40 security people. Then we had all our guys there. It was overkill. So we redirected, and we went back in and looked to develop a plan of action for the amphitheater. And we have it, and it's been working out very well. So also, some more things. When we put officers out there, they're usually coming from a shift that may have to work the next day. So our officers, they must have 8 hours of downtime.
Rest.
So I can't get them out there, they're over here for 6 hours now, and they go home, and then they may not go straight to sleep, but now they gotta come back and do the job. And you gotta look at, we may have some more extra jobs that companies are coming in here wanting our officers to work. However, the amphitheater will be the #1 priority. But, I got officers working over there at the carnival. Got 6 officers working over there on the weekend. And a lot of times, the sheriff department, they don't have enough officers to cover a lot of the things that's requiring sheriff deputies, so they'll call us, and we vice versa them. See? And if you're talking about doing this with officers, we have to call the state patrol, sheriff office. They probably gonna be more than $60 an hour. So we've been getting the job done. And we're gonna keep on getting the job done with the structure that we have. We just don't do a fly-by-night situation. Everything that we do down here, when the police department does, when we do something, it's planned. We have a 5-operation plan, just like the military. And you all don't know we got a command post sitting right across the street watching y'all when y'all up there on the top deck. But we do. But we're not gonna let this city get caught like that. Now, we get a big act come in, we'll get with, Rosado, and we'll say, look here, we probably don't need to up this one. And that's what we were looking at for Tony Town. That we probably you may want to up that a little bit with the security, not the police. Because we got a mission to make sure our citizens are taken care of, and we're gonna do that now. So, other than that, and it's good to have, you don't wanna see no police going through somebody's stuff and they YouTube and that thing, it's all over everywhere. Now you gotta, that's why in a lot of venues, you see security going through, doing that. See, the police just step back and then get called in. Keep us out of a lot of contingent issues. So that's my take on it. And we just keep moving forward.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief? Yes, Councilwoman Hudson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. Chief, as always, thank you. So I just want to make sure that everybody here and everybody listening is understanding what you're putting down. So we, based on just the staffing that we have, there'd be no physical way for us to put all these officers into this venue for that one night, because that would take away from them being able to serve the rest of the city of Douglasville. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say. We running so you take A team and C team. a night shift and a day shift. That's 20, we run 26 officers. If everybody come to work. You trying to have at least that many down there at that place. See? So we could take an officer, you know, I think the FBI thing is like 2 officers per 1,000 or something like that. So we putting 8 to 9 officers down there. You having 1,500 people with 8 officers, and then you have your other 15 or 20, whatever Ms. Rosado, they come up with. And with the command, with the radios, the camera system, that you have an excellent camera system down there. That would take away a lot of manpower. We sit in the command post and watch y'all doing line dances and all of that, you know. And we could see people moving around doing different things in there. So we have a situation, we get on the radio, 324, go check this right here. We got some of them, so I think we had one, somebody overheated or drank something, they fell out. They had an officer right there, 'cause we watching it real time in the command post. See? And the camera system that Sam and that you all put down there is excellent. And we just zoom right in on people. And if we have an issue with something, you know, and then we have the person that's over the security group is in the command post with us. They have their radios, we got our radios, and we just sit there and we watch to make sure everything is safe.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that explanation. It's clear you still have plenty of people on the ground to support that security team, and
Yes, ma'am.
you guys know what's up and know what's going down to protect everybody. So I appreciate that.
And we also pull in like the zone officers, like that would be zone 2. So the zone officers, the lieutenant that's running the shift duties, you know, so we have them driving around in the outskirts area. Because we gotta look at, you know, people going there, they parking the car, now I gotta look at entering all those, somebody gonna come back and the car been broken into. So, and that's another duty other than what those 8 are doing. So we have our zone officer to make like a overwatch position. You know, like a bounding overwatch, and then we got an overwatch position. And then we got our undercover people.
Thank you,
in there.
Chief. Appreciate that. Yes, Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, staff, I'd like to express my appreciation to you guys for taking the time to go back over this item with us again and helping us to make sure that we understand it forward, backwards, and upside down. And I want to make sure that I understand this, and for those of you who may be at home watching, I want to make sure everyone understands this, that the Chief is telling us that out of this contract that we're looking at here for these contract employees, it's not just security, it's also customer service people that will be handling the tickets at the gate, and it's also the logistics people who are handling the setup and the breakdown of everything that's going on. And while there are going to be some security officers in there, that we also have our certified police officers there as well on the ground if and when they are needed. So I just wanted to make sure that we all understand that very well. And Chief, again, thank you so much for your explanation on that.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, you have something?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Sparks. We appreciate you giving us your response, your heartfelt response. I just wanted to remind the council, outside of our newest baby doll, Councilmember Hudson, that we did go to visit Sugarloaf, Duluth, Sandy Springs, and Woodstock. All of their amphitheaters, all of those facilities have a security, a hired security force. It is not their city that, their city police officers that do the security for their concerts. Last year, I went to Stockbridge with Mayor Ford to see Eric Benet, and I went to Maple House to see Kim and Gregory Porter, and they were contracted office security team. It was not Mapleton's police department. It wasn't Stockbridge's Police Department, and I went with Mayor Paul in Sandy Springs. It wasn't Sandy Springs Police Department. It was a security team. And from my understanding with asking the city manager to check, just so I knew for certain that typically with amphitheaters and these type of concerts, it is a security or a contracted company that does security.
Yes, ma'am, you're correct, and to the point, and I think both you and Councilwoman Miller were expressing that, and what the chief is saying is there's a difference between policing and security. And so what this contract is security. So to your point, Mayor, and those venues, I think those are good examples that when you all are talking to your constituents, when they go to places, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the City of Atlanta Police or State Patrol is not operating as security. That's hired security. So we follow a process that we've been trained in specifically for special events on large-scale events. So that's why we're handling things the way that we do. So, Mayor, you're absolutely correct. Those venues follow the same process, which is standard to create safety for the citizens and the constituents, like the chief was mentioning. In Mardi Gras, they didn't follow a certain, during the national championship, they left some things out, and so someone got hurt.
Yeah, and for us, we said that we would not take a shortcut on security and the protection of the citizens when we open this amphitheater. And so, to the point of having hired a security company, this is what they do. The policy and procedures that the chief talked about, which was the command post with the police department, the fire department, the sheriff's department, and drones, and undercover police officers and the 8 officers. It may seem like overkill, like he said, for our first one that we had with Miss Knight, but it's that team effort that everyone's working together, not just a security company, but all of those entities work together to make certain that the citizens are safe. So it's not just seeing a police officer. This is a unique niche, which is a security company providing those services in addition to law enforcement. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Any other comments? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I also want to express my admiration to the chief on the delicate balance that you have to achieve in security operations such as this. I mean, it is basically a hybrid system where you cooperate with a private security company, but you have to maintain a presence, obviously, a physical presence enough for people to feel safe, but at the same time, people don't want to feel like they're in an armed camp.
Right.
And so, you have this delicate balance that has to be worked out so that there's a comfort level to people and that you're going to want to come back. I wouldn't want to come back if I felt like I was walking onto a police base. It wouldn't feel the same. But at the same time, you want to see the officers there, and you want to feel safe, and you want to see those uniforms. So I think you've done a fantastic job up to this point, and thank you for what you got going. So thanks to the city for working it out.
Yeah, we have that place down there sectorized. So it's just not we just don't say we're gonna have a concert and then we just gonna show up with police. No.
Well, I think
We already got
what people don't understand, what they also don't often recognize is how important the job you do that is not seen. You've got the folks on the command post. You've got the sniper watches out.
Yes.
You've got the undercover folks. I mean, there's a lot of police presence that people don't even see that's there, and that's just as important as anybody in the uniform as well. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments? All right. If there are no further comments, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 25-088.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We've had some conversation. I'll ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Did Mr. Davis or Mayor Pro Tem? Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved and second, moved by the chair, Councilmember Watson, second by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Miller, coming up the rear, Councilmember Davis, to approve item 25-088. Do we have any additional concerns, comments, questions, anything for the chief or his staff? Thank you, council. I don't hear any. All those in favor of approving item 25-088, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-088 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all we had tonight under finance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. You did a wonderful job. And again, council members, don't ever feel any angst about pulling something from the consent agenda, or if the chairperson says you don't have to apologize, Chairman Watts, you just thought we had asked all our questions. But if anyone has any concerns and the chairperson may make a recommendation for the consent agenda, just say, no, I don't want to go on consent agenda. Don't feel pressured, so that we can have more dialogue about it and get a better understanding. So thank you all so much for that. We'll move on then to item number 10, which is Housing and Community Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Housing and Community Affairs Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Legislative Intergovernmental Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. Personnel and Organization Committee, there is some business. Councilmember Howard Estes.
Yes, imagine that, Madam Mayor.
I
We have
know.
one item tonight.
Right.
Item number 25-125,
Mm-hmm.
appoint Ms. Melissa Williams to the role of Finance Director for the City of Douglasville. And this will be introduced by Ms. Hampton and Ms. Williams, and it looks like Ms. Callen, too. Okay, come on down.
All right, we always have to say our name and our title, so that'll be something for her to learn. But Karen Callen, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer. We went through a rigorous interview process, and we had Director Bass on the interview committee, Director Burdette, Public Works, and Dr. Westfield. And we narrowed it down. We narrowed it down to 2 candidates. We had second follow-up interviews, and Melissa Williams was our final selection. She has interviewed, met with you all last Thursday night, and we are recommending her appointment this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Callen.
Melissa Williams, I want to thank you guys for this opportunity, and I really look forward to joining such an awesome team, and just excited to be here.
Thank you. We enjoyed speaking with you on Thursday night. Thanks for coming back.
We didn't scare her away, huh?
Obviously not. That's pretty good. We're not usually too scary. Does anybody else have any questions or comments before I make a motion?
I had a comment.
Okay, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to thank Ms. Williams for being interested in joining the City of Douglasville's team. It's been a pleasure to get to know you briefly, and I look forward to working with you. As I said in the interview process, there are some huge shoes to fill with Ms. Callen. She has been exemplary, as I said in my State of the City, with 5 years with distinguished and excellence in finance and 23 years of doing well with the agency that looks over finances for municipalities. So for her to have the confidence, and Director Bass and Dr. Westfield in you, to bring you forward as a candidate just speaks a lot to them, but it also speaks a lot about you. One of the comments was that she's a CPA, okay, we're ready to go, but for you to bring all of your experience, your resume is exemplary, it's stellar, and to bring that University of West Georgia experience to the table, we just look forward to how you're going to work with our staff to continue to set forth an excellent standard that's already been the foundation. But we look forward to your innovation and having new eyes and new look to the city. And I know Ms. Callen is, she's great to work with as a person, professionally and individually, so I know you're going to have a great time. But thank you so much for being willing to come to the city. And thank you, council, for accepting my person to be nominated for this, appointed to this position. So thank you all for receiving her.
We haven't voted yet.
I know, but you didn't say no. You didn't say no, Mayor, we don't want her. So thank you all for considering her.
Anybody else? Okay. I will reiterate a part of what Madam Mayor just said. You do have some big shoes to fill. I'm sure you know that. The good news is Karen's not going anywhere. So she'll be able to help you a lot as you learn your way around this place. And having said that, I would like to make a motion that we approve item number 25-125.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve item 25-125. Do we have any other comments, questions, concerns about the appointment of Ms. Melissa Williams as a finance director for the city of Douglasville? I have a second, please.
Second.
Oh, you have a comment? Yes, sir,
No,
Mr.
ma'am,
Watts?
I was jumping in there with the second.
Oh, it was a fight for second. Okay, Mr. Watts. Did you get Mr. Watts or Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Hudson, she pushed the button. She was quiet while you all were talking.
Gotta push the button, you guys.
Baby doll is fast.
Okay, so it's been properly moved by the chair, Councilmember Estes, and second by Councilmember Hudson to approve item 25-125. Any additional comments, concerns, or questions from council? Oh, no, Mayor Pro Tem? Okay, not seeing any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 25-125 is unanimously approved. Congratulations, Ms. Williams. You are our new Chief Financial Officer for the city of
Congratulations.
Douglasville.
Welcome aboard.
I know.
And Madam Mayor, that is all we have under the Personnel and Organization Committee. But if I might be so bold as to go ahead and say that we have no business for items number 13 through 19
You go ahead
on the
now.
rest of the agenda, so you can go straight on to item 20.
I see you. Thank you, council member. I appreciate you. So we'll move on then to other business. Any other business coming to the council? I know that's right. No? Okay.
Wait.
No
was
other
that
business?
business?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Estes can only rush me so much.
Okay, I feel you.
So, and I know I've had a chance to speak with a few of you guys. Over the weekend, I had a resident reach out to me about some concerns with our spring concert lineup. And she brought to my attention that apparently it's on Facebook. And I told her, and I'll tell anyone who will listen, I do have a Facebook, but I cannot live on Facebook. I have a family, I have a job, and I've learned the hard way, two times, I do believe, in this past 6 years where someone has said, oh, Councilwoman Miller, what is this? And I've said, oh, well, that bridge is yellow. And the next thing I know, they're getting mad at me for something that happened in 1952 and like 3 states away. So I just steer clear of those sorts of situations now. So I told her, I said, well, okay, I understand your concerns. Please email me. And she did. And she said, I have other friends who are also upset with it. And I said, well, then give them my email address. So I've got probably about 10 or 12 residents who have reached out to me. They just want to see more of a variety in the concert lineup. And so after talking with a few of you guys, and including Madam City Manager, we are going to have a committee come up sometime, maybe in the next couple of weeks, to just kind of go back over what that selection criteria looked like, so that when these questions do arise, we can have, I think, maybe better answers for people, but maybe some better planning as well.
Okay.
And if I can plant a little seed after tonight, the gentleman who was here that had a hard time getting a ticket, that broke my heart a little bit, because I can see where that could happen. In my line of work, I do sometimes work with people who are not very tech savvy. I'm not very tech savvy, and so I can understand how it could be harder as you get older. So I would love to chat with you guys sometime about different remedies and things that we could do to ensure that people of all ages are able to get tickets.
I agree with you. I'm just, I feel badly too. I just know the realities of how it's set up, and that, again, I'm sure more people want to be at, Mabel House, but it's just the capacity of what you have, so.
Well, I've got a few ideas.
Okay, and I'm going to read his proposal too. It might be something in there that we can use.
Okay, perfect.
But, so before the citizens, to understand, I think the city manager will do well by letting the committee come forward and talk to us about the acts. And she'll talk, they'll explain, I think it was a variety of people that voted, but last year, just to reiterate, and maybe you can talk to them, that we had Casey and the Sunshine Band, Blanco Brown, Robin Thicke, Rebirth Brass Band, Mark Cohen, and Brad McKnight. So in the year prior to that, we had, I can't remember her name, she was country.
Leanne Rhymes.
Leanne Rhymes, she was great. Leanne Rhymes, Gladys Knight, and I can't think of the other person. So the thing about having variety is that we can try, but it's who's going to come. And for us, I know Leanne Rhymes was playing, I think, in Atlanta, and so she was easier to get. But we're really close to Alabama and Nashville, and so a lot of country artists don't really want to come through Douglasville. And if so, we have as Mr. Harris said, there is a threshold of how much we can pay. And those artists are really expensive. So I'm not sure, City Manager, if you want to address that.
Yeah, I think I can, quickly address some of you all's concerns. We haven't announced the fall lineup, but the genre of music will be different from what you have in the spring. We can't always mix it up where there's a mix in genre in the season, but we can in the entire year. This year, it just so happened that the spring concert series the bulk of it is jazz and R&B. The fall, you won't see that, so you'll get the opposite complaints. So just forewarning you. Some people may not like that because it won't look like the spring. We will have RCS come in and talk to you all again at a committee meeting. I talked to Mr. Post about that. Your contract with RCS runs through next year. We will also talk about the selection process. The other thing I'll mention as it relates to tickets. So when we first started this process, just to remind you all wanted to have nationally known artists. So in order to do that, they cost a little bit more. So in order to create an environment where we're giving something back to the constituents, we decided to make that concert series free because our downtown amphitheater essentially is a park. It's not a performing arts location. So the concert series are free, and what is fair, so that we're not creating a gratuitous situation, it is first come, first serve. We are able to your point, Councilwoman Miller, we are able to possibly do something for seniors, and we can do that for this upcoming concert. Well, we will talk to the staff members. Staff members are able to get limited tickets. We will give up staff tickets so that seniors can come to City Hall to pick up tickets if they have a valid ID. That's not a problem. We can do that. So the only staff who will be there will be staff who are working. So that's what we can do moving forward. We do the limited capacity because the larger name artists tend to attract more of a regional draw. So it's not always like some of the other concert series that we do, whether it be Wednesday Wind Down or Brown Bag series. So it helps to contain, and it helps, the chief will tell you, it helps him and his staff and his officers and security to know the number. When we do concerts that we don't know the number, it's a lot harder for us to do that. But we will come back in committees and explain that entire process. If you all want to discontinue that, we can discontinue that process and move to something where you all are charging. That will still be a situation where not all of your residents will be able to receive tickets, but I will tell you that our staff is not equipped to handle a ticketed system, and we would have to go into contract with a provider very similar to the city of Stockbridge and some other cities where they charge for tickets. And it would remove us from that entire process, and it would also affect you all and staff, where we ourselves and you all would have to buy your tickets as well. So you would no longer be providing this as an amenity to your constituents. So I put that on the table for you all, that after this year, that is an option if you all want to change that process for 2026. There's no perfect system, but this was the system that, from a staff standpoint, that we felt like was one that we can manage internally, provide something to your residents, and be able to provide something balanced and something that the citizens can enjoy. But we do recognize that you all are hearing concerns from people that may not necessarily be happy with our process. So we are flexible, and we're willing to augment and make those changes however you all would like.
I have a question regarding that right quick, if I can. You mentioned that mean that if we did something for the seniors using staff tickets, does that mean that we'll say, okay, like if I have 2 tickets and I'm not going to use them, then I let you guys know at City Hall, and then they go into a pool for someone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
So it's
Any
not
tickets-
just taking them from people?
Yeah, well, what we would do is, right now, staff, we do have a process where staff gets 2 tickets. I would just tell Ms. Rosado that staff no longer gets those 2 tickets. And so we would provide that for the residents. So that is something that we provide just as well as we do others, which is not a big deal.
That makes me super sad.
No, staff can attend the concerts if they're working the event. So we'll make that work. That's not a big deal. The citizens, the seniors are far more important, being able to provide that option for them, because some of them may not otherwise be able to attend. So we will do that, but we will have to create a process where they have to come up and pick up those tickets with a valid ID.
And it would be city
Residents.
City
Yeah, with a valid
residents.
ID, we will use the same age that we do with sanitation. So we will handle it that way.
Yeah, and that'll work because it's, like I said, I have to have my daughter sometimes help me get online and order stuff. But I'm glad that WSA still has a window. I can drive up, I don't have to take the money right out of my check.
We would do
that's
a
something to
number,
have.
I suggest 200, that's 10%, that's about 10% of your capacity. But once the 200 are gone, we have no more. So,
Yeah.
and it would again be first come, first serve in order to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So, we would have to create a process where we make the announcement, they would be available in finance, they would have to come in with a valid government ID establishing that they are a city resident, and have to be age 64. So we will give enough time to be able to create that window, send that information out. So I would recommend that if you have senior residents that are calling you, that we're going to give you adequate time to let them know when it's available. It's at the finance window. We'll verify, we'll print off a ticket for them. We won't get into, if you lose your ticket, we're just going to ask them to please keep up with your ticket. We won't be able to reprint.
That's a good recommendation, City Manager. Thank you for that sacrifice. I know Councilman Davis has a comment, but there is a ticketed event or ticketed venue in the city limits of the city of Douglasville, and that's that the school system opened up. And so I don't know their capacity. You know the capacity, Chief?
10,000.
Yeah, so,
10,000.
those are concerts that people can attend if they want to attend a ticketed concert as well. It's right on Gurley Road where the old school system used to be, but it'll be ticketed events. Councilman Davis, you had a comment?
Yes, I'd like to see us look at it another way about doing the tickets, just like you have the senior citizen come to the park, they have to show their IDs. Like to have a system where if they want to pick up a ticket for a concert, they'd show their city ID or county ID, and then they'll be distributed 2 tickets, but you had to have because my phone lit up this morning when people couldn't get them, and so, they coming from all over, Fulton County, South Fulton, so I'd like to see us shut it down in a way where they got to have your ID.
For all or just the seniors you're talking about what City Manager's talking about?
To both of them, for any concerts, for them to go by the parks with the ID and get the tickets or come up City Hall.
To the City Hall and get them?
Yeah, as long
Yes,
as you
sir.
got the city.
Mm-hmm.
Driver license or something, got a city ID,
Mm-hmm.
2, only 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Well, we'll
yes,
come
I
up
think
with
that's a good recommendation.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I
Councilman
was
Watts?
just going to suggest, as it's already been suggested, that sometime here, maybe in the summer, this is a committee item where the public can still come and listen in, and we can have a good discussion about some of the things that are coming forward that we've heard from the citizens and council. And,
Yes, sir.
just not try to hash this out tonight, because we're not going to figure it out tonight. But,
So you want to put
that's
it on
my-
the committee?
That's my suggestion. I've heard some good things, and I know we need to spend more time on it.
Yes, we do. We spend more time. So it's good. It's good. It's a good problem to have. We didn't have this problem 2 years, 3 years ago, so it's a blessing to be able to have something to offer people as an amenity. Any other business from council? I don't see any. We'll do updates then from our city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Our staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Where's
thank you.
Olivia? No.
She couldn't make it tonight.
She couldn't make it tonight, okay. Our chief of police, Dr. Gary Sparks.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, chief. You don't have an event coming up?
We do, I think it's next week. We have a yard sale.
A yard sale. I thought I saw some sign or something. All right, thanks, Chief. Our city manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
Just to remind you all, we have executive session.
We do.
We do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, City Manager. Well, we've come now to comments and citizens and delegates. If you'd like to talk to us, please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about any business germane to the city. No, I know Ms. Hampton did, and the gentleman left. I'm sorry he didn't stay, and maybe we can get the information to him that we did purchase land. And City Manager, if you can do the specifics, or Mr. Bass, for Jesse Davis Park to expand the park. Do you know how much it was? And
For Jesse Davis? We did purchase some land to expand Jesse Davis, and I'm looking at our city engineer, Marcus, and Mr. Bass, I can't remember.
couldn't remember
About
at the
3
time.
acres, may have been a little bit more than that, but we got close to almost doubling the park by the time we did the land acquisition, because we did it in 2 phases, and then also
Mr.
Councilman Davis also donated land for
Yeah,
Jesse Davis Park,
Councilman
so it
Davis
was
donated
expanded.
land.
Yes, ma'am. But we'll get those numbers, specific numbers to you.
All right, so maybe we can get the information to him to let him know. And again, we can do what we can as a city with our assets to try to draw people in, but we can't, we can't make them come. But hopefully, the environment will be such that with the tax allocation district and the new housing and infrastructure, new roads, and all of that, all the things that we have control over, it will bring in new growth to the community. All right. Any other comments? If not, then I will make a motion to adjourn into executive session for the purpose of discussing 1, property acquisition, and 2, a personnel matter after a brief recess. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions? All those in favor of going into executive session, item 25-128, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are in executive session after a brief recess.
Please put me on that. Yeah, Fantasia.
Really?
He right there. Oh, he's a Reuben. He right there in Birmingham.
We tried to get Fantasia. She likes Stockbridge.
Oh, yeah, they won't.
She won't come.